but I never, it was always empty-hand martial arts. I had never, well, not never, but my experience with weapons is very small. So I needed to understand it. I wasn't a gun person. I've gone to a shooting range maybe a handful of times, and I had no idea what I was doing, really. So I needed to understand these things from, quote-unquote, a professional point of view. And I would take, hand defense classes, handgun defense classes, and, learn how to actually operate a gun as if it was a martial art itself, which it is.
Yeah.
There is a whole dogma and procedure that you have to follow. How to do it safely and how to, you need to know what you're doing. This is a very dangerous thing. And again, that was something that was completely out of the scope of my experience that it also informed me. And also watching a lot of these people, I got to see and talk and pick the brains of the people who were teaching me these things. And, these people have taught the military and federal law enforcement and special operations people. So, they were a wealth of information for me.
Oh, I can well imagine.
And, seeing their demeanor, seeing how they handle themselves, how they handle their guns, because, I don't have that experience, so I try to absorb it from them. And
so when you did your knife training, was this, what was the purpose of training with knives? Is it for throwing or for actual combat?
Yeah, this is close quarter combat with a knife, but I had to make a separation here. What I learned is what they teach, actually, and this is true for everything that I was learning, is what they teach civilian people. So it's a watered-down version of what, say, someone in the military will get. And, for example, as a civilian, you don't have the need to really kill anyone.
Right.
You have a right and a need to defend yourself. So the approach is a little bit different. With a knife, was all about how to get away safely in a self-defense situation, meaning you're not going to kill the other person, but you will incapacitate them so you can run away and call the police and seek help. So it was great because it does teaches you. I mean, fighting with a knife in the movies looks like, like a fun thing to do.
Right.
A guy grabs a knife, there's 5 people, and, he just goes through them. And great. In real life, or at least when you put it into a real situation, even though it's a training situation, it's a messy business. I mean, you really have to have commitment to, one, pull a knife, and, 2, be so close to someone that you're going to hurt them with a knife. I mean, it changes really the perspective of what it is to have a blade in your hand. And it's a messy business, too, because it's not a one strike thing. It takes, many strikes. For example, the Filipino martial arts systems, different names, but they're also basically the same system. They have probably the most highly evolved knife fighting techniques in the martial arts. And when you see what they do, I've been exposed to that a little bit, is multiple strikes. It's never one strike. So you're always disabling and killing someone in a way. So on this one in particular was interesting because I had to actually ask my instructor, okay, if you were to kill someone, how do you actually go around and do this? And of course I will tell him that I was writing a book. And my character is proficient at this, and I said, how do you go around doing this? And he said, okay, well, tell me the situation, and I'll tell you, what would be realistic to do. And so I will, tell him pretty much what I have in the book. And he'll go, okay, well, no, that's not going to happen. This is not going to be useful, but you can do this and this and that. And he will show me. And I was like, oh, great.
Wow.
So, but that was an aside. He wasn't teaching that, but I made it my sort of my duty every time to come up with these little scenarios and say, okay, how will you approach this if you were in this situation? And that was priceless to me.
Well, yeah, I can well imagine that. And as I'm listening, it's like, I have never talked to another author that has done so much personal research as you have, you actually took your survival training, you took flying lessons, you took weapons lessons to be able to understand what your characters do in the book. I mean, this is incredible. As I say, I've talked to authors that have done research, but not so intense. I'm very impressed.
And we'll be back with more Inside Scoop Live after these important announcements.
Inside Scoop Live is a global internet-based broadcast specializing in interviewing published authors about their current books and areas of expertise. Join us and hear both well-known and upcoming writers talking candidly about their life experience as well as the business of being an author in today's literary world. Always interesting and current, we strive to bring our audience high-quality discussions that spotlight a vast diversity of authors in the field today. Our interviews are available 24/7 through direct podcast as well as MP3 download for your convenience. Please visit us on InsideScoopLive.com. Welcome back to Inside Scoop Live. Today I'm talking with Henry Mosquera, author of Sleeper's Run. As you've heard so far, Henry's a very interesting author, and his experience is something many of us would like to have. At least I would. So stay tuned because there's just so much more to come. Now, Henry, you're originally from Venezuela, and when did you move to the United States?
Ooh, that was back in 1995.
Okay. And so did you go back to Venezuela to do some more research for your book? Because I understand your character goes to Venezuela.
Yes. Well, he is half Venezuelan. He's half American, half Venezuelan. And no, I didn't go back. I lived there for 20 years. I was born and raised there. And part of the story was about a character who I call it stranger in a known land. I mean, a character that was part of something, has been away. Now he comes back, is completely different, yet somehow familiar, and he tries to make sense of it. So a lot of what Eric, the main character, goes through is probably a lot of what I go through myself, watching from the outside, my own country. So that really just seeped into what I was writing.
I wondered about that, Henry, if that is something that, as you were, reflecting back, when you were living in Venezuela, and if you were able to bring that characterization into the plot from your memory, and also from observing what is going on there now.
Well, the country that I grew up with is a very different country that it is now. All of these things have been going on, and this whole revolution, or whatever they want to call it, that's going down there. That's completely new to me. I mean, the gentleman who is the president right now of the country, the guy that I knew was a military guy who attempted a coup, and he went to prison, and that's all I knew. That was it. I left the country, and then, he's a political candidate. And I go, oh, really? Wow. Yeah. Life changes.
Yes.
But I've never been there under the situation that it is right now. I don't have any more family or friends living there. I haven't been there. 1998 was the last time I went to visit. Again, he wasn't the president even back then. And no, I hear, of course, stories, of what's going on. I still know people, who have friends or whatever who are from there, and they tell you all these stories. But I find it very interesting because I'm not one to trust what the media says. But it's kind of hard for me to make up my mind of what's going on. Because, from one side you hear all these horrible stories, and then on another side you hear another side saying, things are better. And I go, really? Okay. So part of my research was to see both sides of the same equation and try